Good morning, everybody. So this is my first attempt at doing a dual live here. So hopefully it goes well. Make sure you get into the comments and let me know what that looks like for you. And yeah, that's exciting stuff for us as we progress here. And we'll see how this goes. So okay, with that being said, I want to thank our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without them, the content that we bring to you couldn't be available. So thanks to those guys for sure. All right. And moving on, let me turn this off. Turn this off. Okay. Okay. So this is clear that we're seeing a drop today outside this wedge. You guys know how I feel about wedges and all that. I'm um, not super into those based on my strategy, but I do think it's something to take note of. Okay. Speaking of that, our gap closes near 604.21. We might open near there and come right back up. Okay. Just to be clear here, if we're taking a look at yesterday's marks, we were talking about seeing the 606 retest, and then we got that into close just a little late for our play. Got burnt on that yesterday, and then we were looking for the 605 retest and got that in the morning. So both those were hit, just didn't really get to take advantage of it on options because of theta and delay. So part of the problem playing 0 day. So let's switch this over. I didn't even update this, so that's going to be my bad. Give me 1 second. Trading view. This is my bad. Being unprepared today. Unprepared. I had to take my kid to school today. It kind of threw me off. All right. So we should get the updated numbers. Okay, so we're going to see that 603 is going to be the target for this morning, and then potentially the high at 607. But before we get into that, I want to talk about some stuff that we saw this morning as far as data goes. We're seeing business inventories come in about roughly 30 minutes after open, roughly. You're going to see business inventories. That'll give insight on what businesses are planning to do into Q1, Q2. Okay. If this is super low, then people are going to be thinking that it's some type of pullback. But what we're seeing month over month is an increase on sales. So retail sales actually came up some here. Year over year, even more, almost a solid 50, almost a 50% gain there. 40%, excuse me. And retail sales, excluding gas and automobiles, you're seeing that was about even, but way lower than expectation. So that's an interesting insight right there. Redbook is seeing an increase, which would give you a little bit more of what we're seeing. But you're seeing core retail sales right here, flat, and this might be what's scaring the market. We'll see. But moving on from there, excuse me. Thanks to our partners at Gamma Edge here, we're seeing a put dominated gamma condition. Okay, so we have a magnet at 603 today. If it gets below that, then we could see something like yesterday. Okay, we talked about the 607 area being the potential rejection, but I said watch out to see if that wants to push up over that. Then we might see that 608. Well, it really held 607, 608 area. It didn't really just bounce right off 607. It did initially, but then it made its final squeeze. Normally when we get over something like that, especially when we start seeing this candle, I start getting worried for our position to go short. But ultimately, it did come back down after that. So today, we're right at 604.5. Let's switch this over. I don't know why it's not showing over here. Everything's set up, but I'll figure that out. We're seeing a let me pull this back up. Okay, so we have a demand at 603 and supply at 607. So options range today is between 607, right around here, and 603, right around here. So for us, we will extend this to this high here at 607.83. This is our range for today. If we move outside this range, which I think we could have got 602.14, even into, I think we can still get it today, but we'll remain at 602.82. If we do get that 602.14 and you see any press below that, yeah, that's going back down to 600. But I do find it more than likely that we find a bounce off of this zone, especially near this 603 zone. You're going to see that we have our negative gex here, that we're kind of just hovering in this gap fill area right here. So 604.32, big level for us. That's a daily level. So we'll see how this interacts. If we saw the wedge earlier, you're seeing that we're virtually near that gap close. Maybe we go back up, retest that trend, so to speak, and see how that looks. So watch out for a retest of the 606 area before trying to make it go short here. If we're being honest, it's not the greatest of moves, right? Today. So because of the range, but I think you could just look at this and say, all right, excuse me. And why do I say that? Because our range is here. So that puts us up near there, and our target down here at 603. It's not a great risk versus reward ratio, okay? So it's not fantastic. I think you'd have to really see a push up here and a strong sell on a breakdown in order to get me to play that. So I think ultimately, if you look at kind of what the gamma is showing us into even tomorrow, just to be clear, today, last week, was actually geared towards a 595 close. But into tomorrow, we start to see kind of a split decision here at 607, 606. That's going to be a pivot point for us. Later on in the week, we have FOMC, so that's super important. Let's flip this over to Tesla real quick. While that's loading, to be clear, we're long here and short up here, just to be clear. There's no game plan here. I think you could watch this 603.77 get swept, and then maybe see this bought up after that. I think I'd buy into that and give it into that 603 area, even into 602.82, but you need to see a quick return after that before I would get interested in that. Okay, so Tesla today, man, what a ride on Tesla. I still am 100% in the favor of selling cover calls here. It's just almost damn near 100% up in about a month and a half. I just can't get on board with that. Okay, I don't. There's nothing's changed. Okay, nothing's changed. All right, so for me, looking at this, I think this is super important right here. Okay, so we're seeing a huge 440 magnet being pulled towards this. So we'll see if this thing starts to sell. If it starts to sell down, 440 is going to be your target. It might be this week. It might be in the next week. You can see that we have 500, but it's not even that big. There's not a lot of options next week for calls. Look at the net gex here, very neutral here, and I think that's comes from seasoned investors, whales that are looking to go neutral. Okay, they're not super bullish here, so net delta is not big. You're seeing a lot of people selling cash secured puts here, probably bringing that net delta right around that neutral area. So you can see 440 is definitely a target here, much larger than anything. It's looking for that, and you're also seeing, look at the net gamma here at 4 million at 400. So quite a few people long into this from 400, really making some good cash there. But 440, massive draw there. Need to be keeping a look at that. Let's pull up Tesla real quick. I know we got 3 minutes to open, guys. So, man, I don't know why this is doing this today. You're seeing virtually us wrapping near our COTMP and our high side or negative gex here at 470. So traditionally, when we see that, or excuse me, plus gex here. So this is normally a ceiling for us. Okay. So for me, if we see this thing push below 470, I think you got to be monitoring this for a push near that 457.5, and then all the way back down into this 445 and 440 area. So keep an eye at 470. If we lose 470, I think you're short on this. Looking for a potential pullback into that 440 area into the end of the week. Clearly, it's trying to boom. It might make its way up to 500. At that point, it's definitely I can't do anything but try to short this thing at 500 because we're seeing a big wall there as well. So I'll try it there the first visit. It might start at 496, and I might buy 2 contracts into 500, and then see if this thing wants to pull back. I'll probably buy next week's expiration for 440s if I'm being honest. So, okay. Moving into NVIDIA. NVIDIA is getting crucified. Part of it has to do with we're seeing it drop under 130 here. We saw a rejection on this already. Normally what this would be is some type of large gamma pull now if we're under 130 for it to pull it down. The problem with that is that we saw 132 and 130 being a huge supporter yesterday. So just gapping below might be an area where we look to go long on. We took a scalp yesterday from the 130 to 132 move that we expected, but today you're going to see likely this low here swept at 128.80. You have a neck break here, unconfirmed neck break at 127.68. We'll see if that's going to be an area where we see a bounce. Let me pull over NVIDIA real quick. Got no time left. 130, huge negative gamma here. 1.12 million on the negative Gex scale here. So being under 130 is huge. But there's no targets below it. So I think the idea here is that we're going to return to 130. I think you look to buy calls and look for this thing to magnetize towards 130. Just make sure you give yourself time. So, all right. Hey, thanks for tuning in, y'all. I know this was a quick one. First one doing dual stream here. While I got you on here, take a look at us at OptionScalps.com. Come mimic and mirror what we're doing and how we train for the markets. And then additionally, you get access to our live trade alerts, educational content, and much, much more. So use code NEWGAINS for 25% off your first month and try our first 2 days for free.